Have I picked out more books than I could possibly read in a given month? Probably. It's time for my June pile of possibilities. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and welcome to my June. This is not a TBR. There is no possible way I could read all of the books that I have picked out for June. It's maybe an MBR, might be read. I will definitely read some of these, so MBR would work. It is for sure a pile of possibilities. A very big pile. My eyes were definitely too big for the number of days in the month of June, and seeing how we are already a few days into June when I am filming this video, I'm already behind the 8 ball and it is what it is. But I am going to ask all of you for your help in picking one book that I am for sure going to read this month. So stay tuned until the end of this video, and I'm going to send you to a link where there is a poll where you can help pick between a few of the books I have in this pile, and you can decide which one of those I am for sure going to read. So make sure you wait till the very end so that you can help me decide which book that is going to be. I'm going to start off with the books that I am currently reading, and I have a number of books on the go right now, and that's okay. I'm feeling all right with this. Sometimes that feels like too much, but at the moment, since we have just entered the summer school break and I am feeling like my schedule has opened up a little bit, I feel like I have a little bit more time for reading at the moment, so hopefully that will remain the case over the course of the month. First up, I am going to share that I am still working my way through a collection of poetry. This is The Best Poems of Jane Kenyon. And I'm over halfway finished now, and I have just been keeping this in the current stack of books that I am reading. We have a 2-story house, and so what happens is I will take my books upstairs with me at nighttime so that I can read in bed before I go to sleep, and then I bring those books downstairs with me in the morning because I like to read while I'm eating breakfast, and then I spend just a few minutes with a cup of tea and a few poems from this collection, and it's just been a little lovely morning ritual that I have started, and I'm hoping to keep it up and continue my poetry reading for the rest of the year. But I will say this collection isn't my favorite. I definitely like some of her poems. A lot of her poetry is a little darker than I prefer, but that's fine. Not every poem is going to be for every person. But I am still going to finish making my way through all of these. Next up is a book that I shared last week in my Friday favorites over on my Patreon. Anyone who joins my Patreon, whether you are a free member or a paid member, has access to all of my Friday favorites posts. So I will have a link to that in the description box below. But I shared that The Power of One by Bryce Courtenay was a book that my mom and I were at our local independent bookstore last week. We were buying a gift for someone, and she picked this book up off of one of the front tables in the bookstore and said, "This is one of my all-time favorite books." And I thought to myself, how do I not know this? And how have I not read this? So I grabbed myself a copy and I immediately dove in, and I am very much enjoying this one so far. We are following the story of a young boy named PK, and he lives in South Africa, and his life is a struggle. It is a struggle. There are some difficult things already in this book. I'm not super far into it yet, but I think it is going to be ultimately an uplifting story, and I am very much intrigued to see where it goes and to follow PK on his journey. And I've heard there is a movie as well. I think Morgan Freeman is in the movie, and I've heard that's wonderful too. So when I finish the book, I plan to watch the movie as well. But enjoying this one so far. My mom is always good for a good book recommendation. Next up is a book I just started yesterday, and I picked this up because I was reorganizing the books on my book cart, and this book was sitting on there. It's one I purchased recently, I think because one of you recommended it as a great epistolary novel, And you know how I love an epistolary novel, and that is A Woman of Independent Means by Elizabeth Forsyth Haley. And this is the story of a young woman, Bess Steed Garner, and we follow her life basically through letters from the time she is, I believe, in 4th grade is when it starts. And it begins in the year 1899, and we are going to follow her life through, looks like 1967. So it is going to cover a span of almost 70 years of Bess's life. And this is based on Elizabeth's grandmother's life. So she wrote this book following what she knew about her grandmother. And yes, I am very much already invested in this. I am only about 36 pages in, but I can tell I am really, really going to like this one. I think Bess is going to be a character where I don't necessarily love her all of the time, but she's very intriguing. So I'm definitely engaged in this one too. And then next up is my current audiobook read, and that is The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I decided to listen to this on audio because it is narrated by Juliet Stevenson, and I adore her audiobook narration. I will listen to her read basically anything. She could probably read the phone book and I would listen to it. I love her voice. And this book, I don't know what I was expecting from this, but it is so intricate and very complex. In this, we follow Alma Whitaker, and the book is set in the 1800s, so it's historical fiction, and Alma is born in Philadelphia, and she ends up being very interested in sort of botany, and we follow her story, her family, her parents. She has an adopted sister, and we just sort of follow along with her and where her life is taking her. I am, I think, about 35% of the way through, and I'm very much enjoying it. I actually just had to renew my loan of this because I'm listening to the library's audiobook copy on Libby and enjoying it. I just haven't had a lot of time recently to listen to my audiobook, but I'm still very intrigued to see where Alma's story takes us. Next up is a reread for me, and I'm actually buddy reading this with my lovely subscriber Sherry, and Sherry reached out to me to do a buddy read, and this was the book we picked, which is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I have not read this book since I was a very young girl, and I am thoroughly engrossed in Francie's story. Once again, we follow the young Francie Nolan as she lives in Brooklyn in a lower class Catholic neighborhood, and we just follow along with her life. Her father is a bit of a, I don't want to say ne'er-do-well, but he drinks heavily and he doesn't hold a steady job, and her mother is trying to hold the family together basically for Francie, her younger brother Neely, and it is just a hard struggle, and they don't have hardly any money. They barely have enough to eat, but Francie loves books. She loves reading, and she is just such a wonderful character, and I'm so excited to be revisiting her. And yes, I just want to hug this book. It's filled with such a sense of time and place and character, and Betty Smith, this is a brilliant book if you've never read it. Fantastic coming of age story. And then the final book that I am currently in the middle of, and that is The Buccaneers by Edith Wharton, and my Gilded Age Buddy Read group is reading this one. This was Edith Wharton's final novel, and it was actually unfinished at the time of her death. And this edition was completed by Marion Mainwaring, and I believe Marion was an Edith Wharton scholar, and so she ended up finishing The Buccaneers. So we are going to read this and then see what we think, and see what we think of Marion's ending. And I, for one, am very curious to see how Marion's ending flows with the rest of Edith Wharton's narrative. And we are following some young women who are of marriageable age, but their family's money is too new. And so they end up heading to London from America, where they are hoping to find themselves some husbands who don't care that their money is new, just care that they have money at all. And so I think we're going to follow along with their story, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Once again, I just find Edith Wharton's writing to be so fresh and to feel very modern. And yes, I'm very excited for this one. Next up are all the books that I am reading for group reads, buddy reads, all of that good stuff. And first up is, of course, the pick for the Cozy Reader Book Club for June. And we are reading Shady Hollow by Juno Black. And I am so excited to get to this. I have heard wonderful things about this cozy mystery series. This is the first book in the series, and we are following some anthropomorphized animals and their world, and there is some sort of mystery in this one. Curmudgeonly Toad turns up dead, and it's up to the local reporter to solve the case. And I think this is her. I think she's a fox. But yes, I'm very much intrigued by this. My Cozy Reader Book Club co-host, Rebecca, has sung the praises of this series. She absolutely loves it, and I am very much looking forward to giving it a go, and hopefully we'll be starting it very soon. Our Cozy Reader Book Club meeting for June is going to be Saturday, June 21st. If you are interested in reading Shady Hollow and joining us for our discussion online, please send me an email. You can find all the information about the Cozy Reader Book Club in the description box below. And then next up, I am going to be reading the next volume in the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, and we are on to volume 6 in June. Very much excited to see what Emma and the residents of St. Crispian's get up to in this volume. If you would like to read along with us and join in my live discussion, all the information for the Emma M. Lyon read along that I am hosting this year is in the description box below as well. So feel free to join us. I would love to have you both at the live discussion. You can join my Discord group. However it is you would like to participate, I would love to have you come along for the ride that is Emma M. Lyon. And then next up is a middle grade book that I am going to be reading with my subscriber, Jen, and we are going to read Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor. And I talked about this in my summer reading possibilities, and so I'm definitely going to be getting to this middle grade book, which is epistolary, set during the Vietnam War. Very much looking forward to this. We are going to read this towards the end of June, so this may actually carry over into July, but very much looking forward to finally getting to a book that I have heard nothing but praise for. Next up is a classic, and it is a book that I am hoping to get to this month. Not 100% sure I will, but I would really like to read it for a couple of reasons. The book is Agnes Gray by Anne Bronte. First of all, this book is on my TBR 25 and 25. I have a video dedicated to all the books that were on my shelf as of January 1st of this year that I pulled off that I really, really want to get to this year. They are sitting on the top shelf of my rotating bookshelf right behind me here, and to be honest, I haven't been getting to them in a timely fashion. I still have quite a few on there left to read this year. Eek. We will see how I do. I've definitely been reading other books off of my shelves, and those books, many of them I've owned since before January of this year, but those specific 25 that I pulled, I have not been focusing on. I need to rectify that. And I actually have another book in this pile that also comes out of those 25, but Agnes Gray is one of them. I've owned this book for a very long time. Would really like to read it. And Claire Fenby is actually hosting an Anne Bronte read along this month, and she's doing a few of Anne Bronte's books, but Agnes Gray is one of them. And she has a Discord group to discuss the books, and I thought, oh, that might be the perfect motivation to finally get to this one. And I think I might try to listen to this on audio because I have so many other books that I'm reading physically, and even though I need to finish up The Signature of All Things, I'm hoping maybe I can do Agnes Gray as well, but we will see. This one, it's a little bit of an iffy choice, but we'll see. I'd like to get to it if I could. Fingers crossed. Next up are a stack of books that I pulled because I just really kind of feel in the mood to read them. And the first one is the book I keep talking about. It is my number one pick to read this summer. It is quite the chunkster. That is And Ladies of the Club by Helen Hooven Santmyer. Her name always gets me. This book clocks in at 1,433 pages. Whew, that's a chunkster. I am definitely not thinking that I will complete this book in June, but I 100% am planning to start it. In fact, I might be starting it very, very soon because I am so excited about it and I just can't wait. I was going to get it on ebook from my library, but of course there are a couple of people who have already checked it out or put it on hold. So it's going to be a couple of weeks before that comes in. So I think I'm just going to dive into the physical copy. And then when the ebook comes, maybe I'll switch over and read that if I think it will be easier on my eyes, because this is a small book and I mean, the font's not terrible, but it's not great either. But I'm so excited. So many of you love this book. I cannot wait to get to it. And then next up is an Agatha Christie. I am trying to read through the remainder of my Agatha Christie unread books that I have on my shelf. I don't have that many left. And next up is Passenger to Frankfurt. I'm trying to read them in the order that they were published. I have heard this isn't the best Agatha Christie mystery. I think this one is a little bit more of like a spy novel than a mystery per se. I do love this vintagey cover. So fun. But I don't have the highest hopes for this one. So luckily it's not very long and hopefully I get to it in June. And then I absolutely want to read this one as well. Again, so many of you have raved about this one and it is probably number 2 on my want to read for the summer. And that is Mrs. Lorimer's Quiet Summer by Molly Clavering. And yes, I cannot wait. This is the story of 2 author friends and their relationship. And it is based on Molly Clavering's friendship with D.E. Stevenson. And that sounds just about the most perfect book I could ever think of. So I'm very excited for this one. And then I have one more middle grade book on my June pile of possibilities, and that is Sarah Plain and Tall by Patricia McLaughlin. Yes, said her name right this time. I always say it wrong. And I just feel like this should be a very quick read to get through. There are, as you can see, not a lot of words on the page, and I may even be able to read this in just one sitting. And all of you have raved about this. So again, thank you for your thoughts. I am definitely going to get to this one. And I have heard that there are sequels to this and that I should read the entire series. So I am definitely going to do that as well. Probably not this summer, but I definitely will get to them. And then my next pick is actually a reread, and it is by one of my favorite authors, and it is one of her books that I have not read in a very, very long time, and that is Wildfire at Midnight by Mary Stewart. And this is set on the Isle of Skye, and I just thought it might be nice to visit the Isle of Skye this summer. And I love Mary Stewart, and I find her books immersive and very quick reads. So this is on the pile of possibilities. We will see if I get to it. Next up are 3 books. These are 3 nonfiction books, and I'm actually not putting all 3 of these on my June pile of possibilities, but I realized when I shared my summer book stack that I didn't have any nonfiction books in there, and I would like to read at least a few nonfiction this summer. So I pulled 3 off of my shelves that I really would like to read this summer, and I'm hoping maybe I can read 1 in June, 1 in July, 1 in August. That feels doable. So here are the 3 nonfictions that I pulled off of my shelf. First, I have Raising Demons by Shirley Jackson. This is the memoir sequel to Life Among the Savages, which is basically Shirley Jackson's story of raising her children and being a mom and a wife. And this one continues on the story of her family as her children are getting a little bit older, and I cannot wait. Life Among the Savages was laugh out loud funny, and I have the same hopes for this one. So excited to give this one a go. And then next up, I have French Dirt by Richard Goodman. And this is the story of a garden in the south of France. And I think the south of France in summertime sounds absolutely delightful. And I would love to visit there via my armchair. So I am definitely hoping to get to this one. And then lastly, I pulled My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. And this is the first book in his Corfu trilogy. And I am very much looking forward to reading this one. This sounds like a perfect summer read, another memoir of family life. So very much looking forward to this one as well. Now I just need to decide which of these I'm going to read in which month. I think I'm going to read Raising Demons in June. I may just read them in the order I shared them. So Raising Demons in June, French Dirt in July, and then My Family and Other Animals in August. I think that sounds great. Don't you? Yes, lovely. So Raising Demons going in the June pile of possibilities. And then last up are 3 books, and I am going to have all of you vote on which one of these 3 I should 100% read in June. Whichever one gets the most votes is the book that I am for sure going to read, and then I will come back and give you all my review of that specific book. But let's get into which titles I picked. First up, I have Voices in Summer by Rosamund Pilcher. And in this, we follow Laura. She's newly married and she's going on holiday with his family in Cornwall. And she's very charmed by the old house that they're staying in and by all of the people that she meets. But then there is an anonymous letter accusing her of having an affair that can threaten her newfound tranquility. So sounds lovely. A number of you have said you love this. A few of you said this is your favorite Rosamund Pilcher, so excited for this one. That's the first possibility. And then next up, I have The Guest Cat by Takashi Hiradi. And this is a novel translated from Japanese. And this is about 2 writers, a young couple, and a cat invites herself into their lives. And she keeps leaving and coming back again and again. And I think this is just sort of about their relationship with this cat. You know, I love cats. I love Japanese translated literature, so this one sounds lovely. It's another slim little book. Very much interested in reading this one too. And then lastly is another book that is off of my 25 in 2025, and that is A Very Special Year by Thomas Montasser. This is another book in translation. This is translated from the French, and in this we follow Valerie, and she's inherited a bookshop after the mysterious disappearance of her Aunt Charlotte. And it sounds like Valerie maybe doesn't really want to run a bookshop, but she then sort of becomes charmed by it. And it sounds like maybe there's a little bit of magical realism. It says there's an enigmatic customer who appears and asks about the novel with no ending, and the magic of the shop is unlocked, and Valerie finds herself swept up in a narrative she never imagined possible. So very much intrigued by that. Sounds a little bit like Antoine Lorrain's books, so I'm very much in an Antoine Lorrain kind of mood these days, so I have high hopes for this one. And these are the 3 books that I need you to vote on. So Voices in Summer, The Guest Cat, and A Very Special Year. So I am going to have a post, and there is a link in the description box below for you to go to that post and vote in the poll. So don't leave a comment with which one of these books you think I should read. Please go to the poll in my post and vote there for which one I should 100% read in June, and then I will read that book. The poll will be open through Tuesday, June 10th, and I will announce on Wednesday, June 11th, which of the books I am going to be reading this month for sure. It's not to say I won't read the other 2, it's just that I will for sure read whichever book all of you pick for me to read. And that will do it for my June pile of possibilities. Again, my eyes and my reading desires are probably much, much bigger than the number of days I have to read in the month of June. We all know how that goes, right? We're all book lovers. We all know that we want to read more books than we could possibly ever read. But I hope to get through a good number of these books in the month of June. I would love to chat with you all down in the comments below. What are your June reading plans? Have you made a TBR, a pile of possibilities? Are you just going to read whatever you are in the mood for? Let's talk all things June reading. Also, have you read any of the books that I talked about today? And are there any that I should absolutely prioritize? I definitely have some that are prioritized, and of course I am going to get to the books that I am buddy reading and reading for read-alongs and book club, but of the other books, let me know if there's any I should prioritize. If you've made it this far in the video and you don't have anything that you'd like to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know that you were here, because comments really do help my channel, why don't you leave something water related, a water related emoji in the comments? When I think of summer, I think of water, the ocean, the beach, a lake, a swimming pool, whatever it is, ice. I love ice in my drinks in the summertime. I love an ice cold beverage. So leave me something cool, something with water, just to let me know that you were here. I really do love seeing that you were here and that you watched the video and made it this far. That is really, really lovely and really does help me out. And if you enjoyed this video, if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, I would love to have you join my bookish community. Thank you so much for being here and spending part of your day here with me in my cozy corner of BookTube. And as always, I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye!